When should you use your wrist? When I'm practicing counter hitting, should I use my wrist or not? I will explain it to everyone now. First of all, what is our wrist used for? Two things. The first is to accelerate. The second is to add spin. Let me explain why to everyone. Why can it accelerate? Because the fingers and wrist, or you could say our entire body, it's the place that adjusts the fastest, right? The smallest and the fastest. So because it's small and fast, it has good suddenness. Plus, if it has a hitting action, for example, a backhand punch, it's sudden punch. The speed generated from the strike will be fast. Then our wrist. Why? Can it also generate friction? The wrist from extension to flexion, or from flexion to extension. Its range of motion is also very large. It practically has an angle of over 200 degrees. Can rotate. If we add friction during this rotation, you see, this ball will have spin. It will have more spin, right? Therefore, when we are practicing the backhand loop, right? Including during the backhand punch, right? Whether it's adding friction or adding a hit, it all requires moving the wrist. Once our movement is still in a stabilizing stage, don't use your wrist randomly. What does this using the wrist randomly mean? Many friends, when you first start practicing backhand, what will you discover? You simply can't stabilize it. You can't stabilize it. Well, why do you sometimes randomly flick it too far? Precisely because at the beginning, and everyone's movement is also uncontrollable. But does your wrist need to move? It does need to move. What is this movement unintentional called? Movement. What is unintentional movement? The examples I just gave everyone. One is the punch, right? And also fast rip backhand, right? Including the backhand loop. Backhand power generation. Everyone, look at these techniques, right? My fingers and wrist, they require active force generation to create spin, to create the strike, right? To create the arc. But when I don't need to apply power, my wrist also. First of all, I can't keep it completely motionless. If my wrist is deliberately kept completely motionless. Look, is my movement correct? You can tell at a glance it looks awkward. Right? Constantly dropping this wrist. Constantly dropping the wrist. Then what if I flick it? Like just now, what if I apply force? You will also find that your wrist is completely out of control. So what should we do now? It's to let our wrist move. But this movement follows the movement of the forearm. Look, you can't move the wrist in isolation. How can you achieve this following motion? That is to say, your racket head and your forearm, they basically need to form a straight line. Then what kind of situation is this? Friends, look, my racket head and my forearm have already formed a curve. It's no longer a straight line. What does this indicate? The wrist flicked too far and wasn't controlled, right? So my wrist needs to move. But it's an unintentional power generation, a following movement, following my forearm. Everyone, look, this is me not deliberately flicking, but my wrist is following the forearm. Did you see? If I deliberately flick it randomly, it becomes like this. If I don't move it at all, it becomes like this, right? Are all of these incorrect? Is it only if we let our wrist be able to move? But don't deliberately isolate the wrist. To actively apply force, then it's your wrist within your own controllable range. Moving without actively applying force is acceptable because everyone, as adults, all have a certain amount of control strength. However, you definitely only lose control when you try to apply force. When you don't deliberately use your wrist to apply force, the rotation of your wrist is fine. As long as you don't over-rotate it, it's fine. That's it. Understood, friends? Because this is what many friends ask regarding the backhand, whether the wrist should move or not. An explanation about this.